All right, so here we go. Video number 2 for our red panda. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about cutting patterns out. Like, probably nobody needs to know this, but if we have any true beginners out there, I just thought I would, go over this real quick, since this is the beginning of of our relationship. So here we go. All right, so here's a printout of the pattern, and I started to cut that up. So I just cut out, these are the pieces that will be in the body color, and then these are the pieces that will be in the white. So you can just cut them out directly from this paper, and there are different ways that you can attach them to your felt. So I'm just going to show you, this is like this is one that I cut out before. So one of the ways you can attach it to the felt, hold on, I'm going to get some tape for us, is to use tape. And if you've made my patterns before, you've seen that I recommend washi tape. I like the washi tape because it doesn't really pull up the fibers that much of the felt. So like masking tape or some tapes that have like more stickiness will pull up the fibers of the felt a little bit. This doesn't do that. It also doesn't tear paper. So it's kind of great in that way, but you can use any kind of tape that you want. So this is a small piece, so I would just put one little piece of rolled washi tape or whatever on the back, and then that will get stuck to your felt. And then I'm always kind of like, I try to be conscious of like where my piece is getting cut out, so I'm not wasting too much fabric, so I'll kind of sneak it around the edge or whatever. So anyhow, so you would just go ahead and cut that out of your fabric. Hold on, gotta get my glasses on here. All right. So when you're cutting the felt, your goal with the paper being attached to the felt is that it doesn't shift. So if it takes multiple pieces of tape, that's cool. Use multiple pieces of tape just so that it doesn't roam around as you're trying to cut. So when you're cutting, these are the Fiskars that I always recommend. I really love these. They're sharp, right to the point, and so you can really nicely get into these corners. Some scissors, like almost all scissors, seem like they're just not that sharp right at the point, no matter what you spend on them. But these guys always are, and I love them, and so there you go. They're not the most beautiful scissors in the world. I have lots of pretty scissors, but these are the only ones I use. So as you're cutting, you just want to make sure that you have smooth, you cut smoothly. If your edges get ragged or the edges aren't smooth, it will make the sewing harder later, and things will be a little less accurate. It doesn't mean they'll be bad. It just means they won't be quite as sharp and clean and easy and enjoyable to sew. So that's something to work on and practice if you're kind of new to this stuff. Okay, so go around and then just snip into these things. So this is the snout, which of course I just cut in the wrong color because I was talking to you and not completely paying attention. But that's okay, because that could become the snout of another animal. So anyhow, on this piece, just FYI, see this little zip right here, how that curves up? That's the nose dart, that's the chin dart. So it does say that on the pattern, but just, don't forget that. That little zippy-doo there is like where the nose and the kind of forehead connect. So you'll need to remember that for later. So that's it, and then you just take off the tape, and you've got your piece ready. So again, remember, I cut that out of the wrong color because I was chatting. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. So then the next thing is, I don't know if any of you guys have ever used freezer paper, but this stuff is super cool, and I do talk about it in some of my patterns. So freezer paper, if you can see on this, there's like a shiny side. That side is coated with plastic. And then the other side has a paper surface. So the cool thing about the freezer paper, which you can get in grocery stores. You can order it online in 8.5 by 11 sheets. Anyhow, it's available. It's available pretty readily. Anyhow, so if you duplicate your pattern in the freezer paper, then you have this iron-on pattern that you can use multiple times, just in case you want like a whole bunch of red pandas. Or the other thing is that it makes it, when the freezer paper is ironed on to the felt, it's really, really easy to have accurate cutting because the entire surface of the pattern is adhered to the felt and it doesn't shift at all. So let's do this. So you can do rolls of tape to attach your paper pattern to the freezer paper. I usually put the shiny side up when I'm doing that, so that the tape will easily pull off the freezer paper if I'm connecting the two that way. The other way that I do it is, let's just make sure I'm in the camera here, is just with staples. All right, so then I'll just kind of rough cut out, and then I can create a duplicate pattern. So I have one that has my printed information on it, and then I have one that's an iron-on pattern. So that's that. And it is super handy to have one of these old-fashioned office things around, which is a staple puller, and then you can just take your staples out. So the alternative to these two things that I'm showing you right now is, of course, basting, which is what I've always talked about in my patterns and my kits. And one of the reasons I recommend basting for my kits is that you don't need anything extra. Like, you have your thread, you have your needle, and you can just use those to attach the paper pattern to the felt. And it's not, like you need one more thing that isn't in your box. But there are other ways to do things. So here's how that works. And you would just go ahead and staple everybody down and make your duplicate patterns, and then you can iron on those pieces. So I'll just cut out one more here and then take my staples out, and I'll do a little quickie kind of show of what happens with the iron, just because some people, don't know how high to put the iron, or they're afraid they're going to do it wrong, or whatever. So we'll go through that too. All right, there we go. All right, so now the one thing to watch out for is, once you get all your pieces cut, right, you've got the shiny side and the paper side. And so it's a little hard to see. You kind of need to get, like, once they're cut like this, see, you can see the shine. Oh, there we go. Ooh, that's nice. So you can see the shine. So the shiny side goes down, and you iron on the paper side. So if it gets switched, the pattern piece will glue itself to the bottom of your iron, which is not really a problem. It peels right off, and then you just need to clean your iron with a little baking soda or something. But it catches you by surprise, and but no harm done. It's all fixable. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of this stuff, and I've got these guys ready, and I will be back in our next little video with my iron heated up, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, cool. See you in a minute. Bye.